welcome. In this tutorial video, I will demonstrate how you can use the export functionality of KIWI Explorer. KIWI Explorer produces various types of EDA and outputs that includes plots, tables, and text-based reports. All of these outputs can be exported from the KIWI database to your local computer drive. In this KIWI Explorer page, I have generated multiple profiles, including plot profiles and table profiles. To export the content of any of these profiles, you need to use the functionality of the export menu in the center region. The menu includes two sections. On the top, you can see three options or three buttons which are currently deactivated. Those buttons will trigger the export of a selection. Currently there is no selection, so none of these options are currently available. In the bottom section there are various options that will control the aspect and the format of the exported product. So the first thing that you need to do before clicking on any of these export button is to select the material that you want to export. So you can first select on a node of the navigation tree to display the content and the list of EDA included in that node. Just based upon this selection, you can go to the export menu and export all the EDAs that are contained into the selected folder. So in this case we only have plots. If I click on this option, I will generate an output product. In this case we will include 3 plots into a zip file. When I click on the plot only button, KIWI will include all 3 pictures into a multi.zip compressed archive, and depending on the configuration of the web browser that you're using, either this file is automatically downloaded to your default download location, or the web browser could ask you where to save that that file, like it is the case for me. So you can click on save to save the file, or you can cancel and the export will be essentially discarded. Another way to define the plots that you want to export is to select them in the center region. To select a plot in the center region, just hover your mouse on top of the plot and left click on it. This will show a blue frame around the selected plot. You can use your Control or Shift key on the keyboard to add one or more plots to your selection. So in this case, I'm just going to select those 2 plots. And then if I go to the export menu, now the second option is available to me, selected only. So if I click on this, again, because I have 2 plots selected, KIWI will create a compressed archive with these files, and it will call it also multi.zip. Again, you can save or discard the export. So this described how you can select the product that you want to export. There are a few options that control the format of the export, and that's done through the lower part of the export menu. You can see options that are specific to plots, options that are specific to tables, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And you have options that are common to both plots and table source files. In terms of options for plots, you can define, you can click on this checkbox to request the plot to be exported using half the original size. So whatever resolution and dimension that was initially defined for your output, essentially 50% of the information will be lost. It is useful if you want to create smaller images for inserting in maybe in slides, or if you don't want to use large files. The second sets of options that you can use are options that relate to information that will be added to the exported product. So you can decide to unclick or uncheck those checkboxes, and in this case nothing would be added to the product created by KIWI. And if you select this and select only, you will save the file, and the file that you export is, I'm trying to put those things side by side, and out, and that's the way to do it. So this is exactly the same product. There's no additional information provided with these sets of options. Alternatively, if you request the inclusion of source information and file name and export that same picture again, I'm going to create a new version and open that version. And I'm going to again zoom out to show you the difference. This picture is essentially the same as the exported or the selected picture, but information is added at the bottom. The source information provides information about the version of KIWI that was used to produce the picture. The file ID, which is the ID that uniquely identify the data source for this picture, and the plot profile ID, which uniquely identify the settings used to create this plot. The file name is the second piece of information that you can add, and you can see that KIWI creates some fairly complex names that will uniquely identify your plots. So it's based upon there's some settings depending on the plot type. So here for scatter plot, you've got the y versus the x-axis variables, information about the stratification, information about the data file, the profile ID, and some stratification here. So this covers the functionality of exporting plots. To export a table, you must first select a profile that contains a table. You cannot select tables in the center region. You can click and nothing would happen. So the only export functionality that is available is the first menu, EDAs in selected folder. And in this menu, the tables only option is available. Before you click on this button, you first need to select the format of the files that you want to create upon export. So you have the ability to create HTML, Word, or Excel files. I will select the HTML format. You can also include source information and file names in these tables. Well, for now, I'm going to choose not to do that. So I selected an HTML format and click on Tables Only. I will save that summary statistics table, and I will open that table. So you can see that for an HTML format, This is exactly the same design as you've seen in the Explore window. If a Word format was selected, the design would be slightly different, mostly in terms of font and font size that is used to create the document. The final product that you can export is the text-based reports that are sometimes created for EDA plots, especially in the case of box plots. When you double click on a box plot, a text-based report is shown. You can export this report out of the KIWI database by selecting the plot associated with this report and select the export menu, and in this case you can see the third option is available now, reports in the selected folder. So actually you will get all the reports associated with any picture contained in the selected folder. So you don't really select, you don't really have the option of clicking on a particular plot and exporting a particular report associated with this selected plot. And reports are exported as plain text. They are also named using a convention that would be similar to the plot, the naming convention for the plot. So for box plot, in this case we have BX for age, and for we're reporting the file ID and the profile ID here. So if you cancel this, export will be cancelled or discarded. So this covers the functionality of exporting tables, plots, and reports out of KIWI Export. Thank you very much.